It's the middle of spring and Satomi is moving into his new room. He talks about his best friend Mackenzie and the landlady, Kasagi, who despite being the same age as him, owns the complex. And his rent is only 5,000 yen per month, which I'd say is a little suspicious, but 5,000 is 5,000. The next day, Satomi is at work at his dig site when his boss tells him to switch sites. He starts looking for the other site when he hears a strange voice in the forest and starts to head towards it. It's probably not the best idea to follow disembodied voices into the forest, but he does it anyway, and he ends up in a cave with a concussion and starts tripping when he sees a statue. He wakes up in the hospital after he was found, and the next day he's back to school while someone is stalking him from above with sneak level 1. As the day draws to a close, Satomi goes to meet another student, Sakuraba, and he joins the knitting club since there is something he wants to make. That evening, he gets home and finds a girl in his room. He's not prepared to deal with that, so he tosses her out and moves on with his day. But the girl just floats straight through the door and back into the room. He's freaked out that she can float, and Sana tells him that she's a ghost that has been living here, and she wants Satomi gone. But he ain't about to give up a 5,000 yen room like that, so if the ghost wants him out, she's gonna have to throw hands for it. And Satomi isn't going down that easy since he has some blessed objects to counter her ghost magic. But before round 2 can begin, a girl comes flying through the window causing property damage. Her name is Eureka, and she claims to be a magical girl and warns of evil magical girls. But Satomi isn't buying it for a second and kicks her out, even though he's a boy fighting a ghost with trinkets. After listening to her begging for a while, they decide to postpone their fight and let the girl back into the room. They still don't believe her story, but before they can talk further, a girl named Kiraha bursts out of the ground. She's of the mole people, and she wants this room because her people value it. However, she isn't one to throw hands, so she does the next best thing and bribes him with a stack of gold. He was about to agree until she revealed her plans to invade Poland. Satomi is immediately against it, but she assures him that you will be treated as a comrade. She's about to employ other negotiation tactics that would get this video age restricted, but suddenly the lights go off and another girl appears and Satomi accidentally grabs her pillows, but the pillows are almost non-existent. The girl is enraged and threatens to destroy them, and while you may think there isn't much she can do, she reveals that she bought the battle pass and blasts her cannon. Kiraha also bought the battle pass and pulls up a shield, but she didn't get the premium pass, so the shield breaks. Satomi tries to swing on the girl, but she has the impenetrable force field perk and nothing can get through it. Nothing other than a ghost, and Sana flips her skirt up, revealing her bare underwear. Well, that's definitely one way to deal with the problem. The girl gets really upset and calls in a tactical nuke. But before she can blow up the planet, she is stopped by her attendant, Ruth, who makes her call off the nuke. Then shit hits the fan as Kasagi comes in and sees the room destroyed. She single-handedly knocks all of them down a peg and forces them to sign a treaty over the room. The treaty forbids the use of force in the dispute for the room. Satomi decides to use card games decide. They divide the room among themselves, and the winners of the card game take points from the losers. And once you run out of points, you lose all rights to the room. They play the first rounds of games, and Kiraha comes in first, and the lowly with premium battle pass is in second, while Satomi and Eureka are fourth and last. They call it a day, and everyone leaves to go home, but Eureka just climbs into the closet and goes to sleep. All this craziness has really tired Satomi out, so he and Sana decide to call it a night. In the morning, Sana tried to wake Satomi up, but he was sleeping like a log, so he's still gonna be late for school. Though the fact that Sana tried to wake him up shows that she is warming up to him. At school, he's at the knitting club, receiving guidance on his knitting, but later, since the club president is busy, he has nothing to do. When he gets home, Kiraha has made dinner for everyone with the help of Ruth and Thea. Sana sees how delicious the food looks and begs Satomi to let her possess his body so that she can taste the food, which he reluctantly agrees to. As they are about to begin eating, Eureka pops her head out of the closet and asks for some food, which Satomi reluctantly decides to share with her, and that night, Satomi comes in first in the card game. The next day, all the girls transfer into Satomi's class, and they begin to act like normal people, but Eureka is still a walking L. Eureka is still trying to convince Satomi that she's an actual magical girl, but she gets cornered outside by the cosplay club, who take her as one of their own. All this was exactly as Satomi planned. Now that the cosplay club has taken her, she'll be too tired to fight for the room. However, Eureka is somehow better at card games when she's tired, and she wins 3 times in a row. Everyone is starting to get fed up with the card games, so Kiraha suggests that they use the school's obstacle course as their next game. For the race, Satomi chooses to have Sakuraba for his partner, even though she's about as strong as a blade of grass. And Yurika is still being held captive by the cosplay club. Since Sanaya doesn't have a body, she'll choose one person to share a body with, and she chooses Satomi's team. Kiraha is training and dusting the competition, but she still needs a partner, so she plans to bribe someone to join her. The day of the event arrives and everyone gets ready to start, but once the whistle blows, Kiraha had paid off a bunch of people to block the starting line. The others still manage to get across the start line and the race is on. Satomi is behind at first, but there are some events that he is really good at which allows him to catch up quickly. Though Sakuraba has fallen behind, however, she still wants to finish the race. She meets on with Yurika, who is in last place, and the two promise to finish the race together. The rest of the racers get to the tightrope challenge, but Thea has set a trap of her own. She set landmines in school competition, and in a sick turn of events, she falls victim to her landmines as well while everyone is blown up. Back in last place, Sakuraba faints due to her grass-level stamina, so Yurika tries to use her magical girl powers to heal her. Despite the landmines, Satomi is still in first place, but his legs give out before he can complete the race. Thea and Kiraha pass him, and they go on the scavenger hunt challenge. And the item they need to get is each other's bra cups, so this is a battle to the death. Meanwhile, Sakuraba and Yurika get to the finish line, and Sakuraba just needs a club member. However, Yurika has to bring a friend, which is impossible for her as a walking L, or it would be if she didn't meet Sakuraba today. So the results for the day, Yurika and Satomi win. Later, Ruth wins a free trip to a hot springs and everyone is excited to go. But there seems to be something bothering Sana. They all go to buy some swimsuits and Thea is upset about her lack of personality compared to Karano. But it is what it is. Anyway, they head to the inn through a portal in Thea's spaceship, which by the way is hella fancy. But they get to the inn and it's kinda not fancy. In fact, it's basically the same as Satomi's room. And on top of that, this place is also haunted. They head to the beach and Satomi encounters the cosplay club, who informs him that Sakuraba is at the beach as well. The other girls show up and try to flaunt their assets at Satomi, but he's got no interest in thoughts, his eyes are for Sakuraba alone. And I don't know what alternate dimension their logic comes from, but they get angry at him for liking Sakuraba and bury him in the sand to smash his head. Despite his near-death experience, Satomi still had fun today. Back at the hot springs, the girls are talking about their reasons for fighting for the room, but Kiraha is doing it so that she can ride a roller coaster. They all go to sleep and Satomi rolls over and starts hugging Ruth, and while she thinks he is about to engage in some nighttime wrestling with her, in his mind, all there is Beetle, and Beetle must be captured. He gets kicked out of the room for that little stunt and is walking along the beach when he spots Kiraha sitting on some rock and he goes to sit next to her. Meanwhile, Sana has gone out to look for Satomi. She finds him, but when she tries to jump scare him, his blessed items shock her, and she gets butt hurt that he carries around a necklace given to him by his grandmother. Sana goes off to soap by herself, and she comes to the conclusion that she'll just act like Satomi is her enemy from now on. But she made the mistake of going alone because now she's been kidnapped. Satomi is looking for Sana, but he can't find her anywhere. That's when he runs into Sakuraba, who is out on another stroll today. Yurika finds Sana, who has been captured and is about to be sold to Epstein's Island. The Ghostbusters really fell in hard times, but before she can do anything to help, she gets taken by the cosplay club again. Satomi talks to Sakuraba about Sana, and he realizes that she probably wants to be friends but felt hurt when he didn't act like it, so he continues his search for her. Along the way, he finds Yurika, who has been kidnapped by the cosplay club for a sacrifice, and she tells him that Sana was kidnapped by ghost hunters. With this information, he rushes back to the others to tell them, but leaves Yurika to be sacrificed to the cosplay gods. The group tracks down Sana and breaks into the room where she is being held captive, but she is still in denial about Satomi helping her. The ghost hunters claim they have broken no laws, and they are technically correct, but the group has a mole person and an alien, and they don't give a f*** about the law. Now that negotiations have broken down, they unleash the ghosts they had collected to battle the group, but they make short work of them. The main ghost gets jealous of Sana since her friends came to save her, and she goes berserk and knocks everyone out. Satomi gets up, uses his charms to knock back the ghost, and Yurika has finally gotten here and cast a spell to weaken it. Satomi manages to kill the ghost, leaving Sana unharmed. She thanks Satomi for coming to save her, and all goes back to normal for now. A few days pass and it's nearing the cultural festival period, and Satomi is asking for the others' help to submit a script for the school play. His friend called his acting dumpster water, so now he wants to prove him wrong at any cost necessary, so he's willing to put his points on the line. Everyone agrees to help him, and they all start writing. Partway through, Yurika tells Satomi that she brought a temporary pet home, and it turns out to be a beetle. But thanks to that little incident at the hot springs, Ruth is going to blow a fuse if she even hears about another beetle, so they do their best to hide it from her. Later that night, Sanae is possessing Satomi's body to write her script, and the two are having a little bonding moment. But they are interrupted by Yurika, who can't sleep thanks to the beetle's noise, so Satomi allows her to sleep outside the closet for now. A month later, the script that will be used in the play has been chosen, and it belongs to Thea. She wrote about her favorite story involving the Silver Princess and the Blue Knight. The theater club president loved the script, but Satomi and Yurika are salty that they didn't get selected. While casting, they are having trouble finding someone that portrays the Silver Princess properly, so Satomi makes a suggestion for the actor to be Sakuraba. Satomi practices with Sakuraba after school since she's pretty nervous about the play, and they put on a performance better than Hamlet. The theater club president was spying on the whole thing, and she's impressed. That was some Hamlet-level stuff, but when actual rehearsals begin, Thea calls her performance absolute dog water. Satomi steps in to defend her and says that while her performance was indeed dog water, it was only because she got used to rehearsing with him. So he performs with her, and I'll be damned, it was so good that Thea got sent to another dimension. Everyone agrees that she was exceptional, but Satomi still sucks at acting. However, it'd be easier to teach him to suck slightly less than it would be to get Sakuraba to reproduce her performance with someone else. However, around the corner, someone is plotting to ruin this play. In order to make Satomi duck less, Thea is personally training him on her ship, and in the meantime, she tells him about her rival appearing near the planet recently. But it's nothing to be concerned about for now, so back to training. Back on Earth, the training has paid off and Satomi's acting skills are now passable. But now Thea is getting jealous that she doesn't get to play the part of the Blue Knight. Suddenly, a light fixture collapses and nearly hits Thea, but Satomi saves her just in time and hits her with that nightly reese, and the dams must be flooding. This wasn't an accident, it was attempted murder from her rival, Clan. But the royal family kinda doesn't like murder, so Clan would lose the right to the throne if she were caught. So for now, they go on as usual. The day of the play arrives and Thea is still training Satomi, and the two have a little bonding moment. But then Clan shows up with a homemade railgun. She baits Thea into pulling out her weapon, but Satomi, with his Giga brain, realizes that she planned something, and at the last second, Thea is pushed away before she could blow up. Clan placed a trap that activates every time someone pulls out a weapon, but now that Satomi has figured it out, he's not gonna let that slide. He runs up on her and slashes. And remember, this is a plastic sword and it's beating the impenetrable force field perk. Thea thinks that Satomi might be the real Blue Knight. Clan is knocked to the ground and Satomi tells her to give up, but he forgot that she also has a battle pass and he can't outrun a nuke. But the others turn her trap on her and she gets blown up. She escapes, and while she's trying to hide, Yurika falls on her, knocking her out. And for fear of being in trouble, she uses magic to dispose of the body. On to the next major event, the evil magical girl has finally shown up, but Yurika is just happy that she can now prove that she is an actual magical girl. But still, even after telling everyone that Maki is an evil magical girl, no one believes her in the slightest. Maki confronts Yurika, telling her to prepare for their battle, and that she will be joining the cosplay club to mess with her. As Maki leaves, Sakuraba runs up to Yurika asking for advice. Sakuraba is in love with Satomi, and she wants to get closer to him. Yurika promises to help, and don't worry, she got all of her love knowledge from a manga, so she's an expert. She tells Sakuraba to ask Satomi to go on a date with her. Yurika returns home, but she hears Maki inside, and despite everything that she has told them about Maki being dangerous, they still invited her into the room and still won't listen to her at all. She gets really upset and runs off to the park and cries about it. Sakuraba comes by and sees her crying, so she gives her some advice that instead of just talking about it, maybe she should do something instead. The next day, Yurika puts on her magical girl outfit and prepares for war. And at the same time, Sakuraba is cornered by Maki. Meanwhile, the others find out that Yurika has run off somewhere and Satomi goes to find her. Maki and Yurika prepare to face off in battle and put up barriers to drive people away. But once Satomi finds her, he just walks straight through that thing like it didn't exist. Yurika is getting her ass handed to her until Satomi shows up and intervenes. Maki is sure that Satomi must be some sort of grand mage since he was able to counter the barriers so easily, but that doesn't change anything and she's still intent on killing Yurika, and she's going to use Sakuraba as a hostage to gain an advantage. And now Satomi realizes that she actually is magical, and he is ready to help her fight. But Maki has no intention of fighting fair and square, so she targets Sakuraba and forces Yurika to sacrifice herself. With Yurika critically wounded, Satomi promises to defeat Maki in her stead. Just then, Sakuraba's hair turns white and she loses consciousness. She forms a sword which apparently belongs to Satomi, and he takes it, somehow knowing exactly what to do with it. Maki realizes she is out of her depth since none of her spells work against Satomi, so she dips. Back at the classroom, the others are still worried about Satomi and Yurika not returning yet, but Thea claims she doesn't care and goes back to writing another play. But Satomi's nightly reese has already done its damage and she can't get him out of her head. Sanae reaches them and tells them everything that happened. Meanwhile, Maki is in the room and collecting magic power. Yurika tells her whole backstory on how she was saved by another magical girl, but in the end, because of her, she lost her magic. And now, Yurika must take her place and fight the evil magical girl. They finally make it back to the room to battle Maki, but she had already finished collecting some of the room's power and tries to leave, so Satomi gives chase. They end up on the roof and he is still giving her a run for her money. Maki realizes that she is getting jumped and uses the power she took from the room to immobilize Satomi and nearly kill him, but Yurika saves him at the last second. It's not looking good for them now, but reinforcements have arrived. The others protect them and Thea is incredibly angry that Maki would dare attack Satomi. So she unleashes the full power of the battle pass on her and forces her to use up her power. As a last-ditch effort, Maki destroys her staff, causing a blinding light which allows her to escape and everyone but Yurika to forget everything that happened today. So now, once again, no one believes that she is a magical girl, but Satomi at least remembers a little bit of what happened, so he still believes her at least. In a basement somewhere, this world's FBI are sitting and waiting for a threat that they are not sure is coming, but then their director calls and tells them that the mole people are attacking. The gang gets invited to do a show for the neighborhood kids by Kiraha, and Satomi is against it at first, but after hearing that Sakuraba is going to be participating, he is suddenly no longer against it. The day of the show arrives and Satomi is acting as the villain of the story. He kidnaps Sakuraba from the audience and declares that he is taking her as his wife, and even the kids can tell that Sakuraba is loving every moment of this. The moment where the hero is about to show up comes, but he doesn't show. However, the dollar store Power Rangers show up, but they ran out of budget for the other colors, so we only got red. The kids are more enraged than Twitter would be, until the real hero comes out and continues the show. The dollar store Power Rangers realize that this is just a show and leave, but Satomi's nightly reese has struck again. After the show, one of the kids comes up to thank Kiraha, and she decides to help take her home. Satomi goes back to the others who are just now realizing that they have no idea who the dollar store Power Rangers were. They later see Kiraha cleaning up the neighborhood, but all the people helping her are also mole people, so Sanae starts thinking that this may be a plan to invade. But she is just cleaning, so there's no real reason to be worried. That night, Kiraha receives a call from her village chief, and he asks for the status of the plan. She says that the neighborhood has accepted her thanks to her hard work, which I assume is the peaceful option. But the revolutionaries are pushing for the invasion plan. The next day, Satomi meets Sakuraba, who is still giddy from all the excitement with the show. She finally feels like she's part of the town, and that statement makes Satomi realize that Kiraha must be trying to merge herself into society peacefully. Later that day, he meets up with Kiraha and they walk through town together, and everybody really loves her. Satomi asks her if she really wants to invade, but she doesn't. She asks him to go somewhere with her the next day. The next day, Satomi and Kiraha are preparing to go on a date together, and the others are incredibly jealous, all except Kasage, who is yet to be affected by Satomi's nightly reese. Satomi and Kiraha arrive at an amusement park, which she says she has been to before. They go on a bunch of rides and later enter a movie theater. But as they enter the Ferris wheel, she gets a little serious all of a sudden. She tells him of the person that she met there 10 years ago and how she volunteered for the invasion specifically to find this guy again. Which is why she wants a peaceful invasion. After all, it's kind of a red flag if a girl starts a war over you. She never really intended to take the rune, but if she said she failed to acquire it, then the revolution, a part of her clan, would have done it themselves. So the best outcome was to keep it deadlocked in a power struggle. Satomi now understands everything and confirms that Kiraha is really a nice person. The two then share a bonding moment. Satomi and Kiraha are about to go on another ride when suddenly, a drill pops out of the ground. It's the revolution. The leader, Kayama, points a gun at Kiraha and goes, "Viva la revolution." The others see this happen and rush over to help, and Yurika goes up high to cast a spell to protect the bystanders. This is the best character development I've seen. She is no longer a walking L. Kayama plans to use Kiraha's death as a reason to invade. So anyways, they start blasting, but Kiraha is not one to be taken down that easily. Kayama is unfazed by this and reveals that he has acquired his own battle pass. They blast each other, but end up canceling out. But Satomi uses the chance to sneak up and sock Kayama in the jaw. But he made the mistake of trying to negotiate with the guy who literally tried to kill you 5 seconds ago, and he gets knocked out. He would have died right here. but Thea shows up and saves him. And with everyone's help, they counter his forces and bring down his mech. He gets desperate and uses a smoke bomb to conceal himself, but with Sana's help, Satomi is able to see through the smoke and get to Kayama before he can use the Glock. He's defeated, but you can't stop Crazy. He plans to blow up the ship to cause massive casualties, but once again, Yurika catches a W and prevents another Hiroshima. Now that he has lost all his cards, the revolution has been taken care of. There is still the giant hole in the ground, but the government is probably just going to cover it up. Kiriha is thankful to Satomi for his help and asks him to come back to the park sometime with her. Things are once again back to normal, and Thea shows up early one morning to wake Satomi up to practice for the next play. She tries to wake him up, but dude isn't going anywhere and Sana is literally inside him. She moves on to waking Yurika, but all the commotion she causes ends up waking Satomi. He gets a good look at what his life has become, and you know what? It's not that bad. Later at school, the girls start talking about Christmas, but seeing as most of them have never heard of it, they don't really know what it is exactly. Sana says it's a time for people to get together and spend some time, but Thea isn't going to let Christmas get in the way of her show. Satomi, who is watching all this, suddenly gets an idea and leaves the class. Later that night, Sakuraba is walking down the street at night when she notices a Santa whom she knows. It's Satomi, and he's working part-time for some reason. Back at home, Thea is upset that Satomi started working a part-time job when she wanted him to practice. They all speculate on why he would suddenly take a new job and come to the conclusion that he has a girlfriend that he wants to buy a gift. Satomi gets home and meets Kiriha, who is making them some soup. He is confronted by the others and they ask why he is working a part-time job, but he doesn't want to say. Kiriha uses a bluff and says she is the reason he is working an extra job because they are going on a date, but they all know that that isn't true. However, the change in topic was enough for them to let it go, and Satomi thanks Kiriha for her help. The next day, we find out that Satomi had planned a Christmas party for everyone, and Sakuraba is helping him put it all together. But when it comes time to put the finishing touches on the party, he's surprised to find the club room full of sweaty dudes. They don't really have much of an option, so they decide to switch the party location to Satomi's apartment. But once Satomi gets there, he realizes that he has been bamboozled. He was planning a surprise party, but he was beat to the punch. They still end up having a lot of fun though. After the party, Satomi walks Sakuraba home where he gives her a scarf as a present, and it is revealed that Satomi and Sakuraba are the real princess and Blue Knight, which explains why he didn't get packed up in a coffin in the first encounter. Hope you enjoyed this fun journey as much as we did. If you have any recommendations for future videos, then don't shy away from mentioning them in the comment. And that is all, bye.